Hello, my name is Devon Zuegel, and I'm going to give you a tour around a few of my websites. I will share the design concepts and a sample of the tools that I use to help me communicate my ideas. After a year of developing these skills at Freestyle Academy, I am currently applying them both to my senior year projects and to projects that I am commissioned to create. This is my project listing page where you can find my websites that I've produced in the last 2 years at Freestyle Academy, a communication arts and technology program within the Mountain View Los Altos High School District. These websites showcase my projects of various mediums that I created in my design and English classes, as well as my web and audio engineering class. I chose a layered blueprint as the metaphor to organize my projects page. This blueprint depicts the planned and organized way I approach my work in art. I chose to create the artwork in Adobe Illustrator, a vector program, to maintain clean lines. In my junior year, I built 4 of the 8 projects that I will complete by the end of the 2012 school year. I built this first Dreamweaver website around the theme Imagination is more vivid than reality. Using Photoshop and Bridge, I included a gallery of my photography. Here are a few samples of my photography from early junior year. Made in Adobe Illustrator, this self-portrait depicts the 2 sides to my willpower. In some ways, it is positive in that I push through uncomfortable situations and get things done, but there is a fine line between perseverance and obsession. This piece is an illustration of a girl tugging a dragon on a leash. She does not stop even though she is getting burned in the process. The second website showcases my projects from the junior narrative unit. The design of the page is inspired by the prologue of Snow White, in which the mother pricks her finger on a needle. In my mind, fairy tales are the most pure form of storytelling, and so I thought that theme would be fitting for my website. For the graphics, I experimented more with Photoshop. To create the buttons on the left, I first created their basic forms in Illustrator. To add shading and depth, I used imported brushes from the web and the dodge and burn tools in Photoshop. An animatic is a roughly animated storyboard used to act as a blueprint for the final animation. Here's a little bit of that.
I wish I could be in such a beautiful place.
Here's the completed animation, which was created using Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, Pro Tools, GarageBand, and Flash.
Man, it's so beautiful down there. I wish I could be in such a beautiful place.
Using Adobe Photoshop, I created this narrative diptych. I used the dodge and burn tools to drastically increase the shine and contrast on the photo to the right. My illustration, created through Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, represents the power of time to limit the ability of imagination to become reality. To create different intensities of shading, I created many groupings of colors with a line tool and then live painted each fragment. You can see the strategy used here in the hands. The third website showcases my projects from the junior documentary unit, in which I explored my autistic brother's team of therapists, teachers, and friends. Integrating a theme of bubbles throughout, I used this project as an opportunity to work on my skills to create photorealistic paintings in Photoshop. I digitally made the bubbles in the background of the site by using custom-made brushes. I used JavaScript's fancy box for the first time to display the documentary book I published in Bound. The book itself was created in Adobe InDesign, and the text design and photography within it are all my own. I used Flash, Pro Tools, and Photoshop to sequence and code an audio slideshow of my research paper. Here it is.
My brother is that kid who sends off airplanes. Our family gets varied reactions from the people walking down the aisle to their seats. Some flash Jeffrey a smile, while others do their best to avoid staring. Still others shoot my parents a look that says, "Please give him a Benadryl." Jeffrey has what most people would call disabilities, but he and his team approach them as challenges. His gains, particularly with regard to communication, have been made possible by the faith, expertise, and hard work of those surrounding him. The fact that everyone working
This page includes my research paper, the basis of all the text that is within my book. The various chapters are organized by sprite tabs. The first is the introduction. Chapter 1 is all about how the team works together. Chapter 2 is about his school called the Morgan Autism Center. Chapter 3 is about Jeffrey's various therapies. And Chapter 4 is about the various community members who are part of Jeffrey's life. And finally, the conclusion and the bibliography. The fourth and final website of my junior year, which I built in 2 days, was a test of my speed at building web pages. To create the floral background, I downloaded a brush from DeviantArt.com. From Defont.com, I downloaded the modern font used for the experimental project headline and the retro font used in 3 subtitles. Thank you for letting me share my websites with you. I hope you enjoyed the tour and that it gave you a brief glimpse of my skills in web design, photography, digital art, and recording.